In Brittany there lived a nobleman, whom I've heard marvelously praised, a fine handsome knight who behaved nobly. He was close to his lord, and loved by all his neighbours. He had an estimable wife, one of lovely appearance. He loved her, and she him. But one thing was very vexing to her. During the week he would be missing for 3 whole days, and she didn't know what happened to him or where he went. Nor did any of his men know anything about it. One day he returned home happy and delighted. She asked him about it. "My lord," she said, "and dear love, I'd very much like to ask you one thing, if I dared. But I'm so afraid of your anger that nothing frightens me more." When he heard that, he embraced her, drew her to him, and kissed her. "My lady," he said, "go ahead and ask. There's nothing you could want to know that if I knew the answer, I wouldn't tell you." "By God," she replied, "now I'm cured. My lord, on the days when you go away from me, I'm in such a state, so sad at heart, so afraid I'll lose you, that if I don't get quick relief, I could die of this very soon. Please, tell me where you go, where you have been staying. I think you must have a lover, and if that's so, you're doing wrong." "My dear," he said, "have mercy on me, for God's sake. Harm will come to me if I tell you about this, because I'd lose your love and even my very self." When the lady heard this, she didn't take it lightly. She kept asking him, coaxing and flattering him so much, that he finally told her what happened to him. He hid nothing from her. "My dear, I become a werewolf. I go often to the great forest, and the thickest part of the woods, and I live on the prey I hunt down." When he had told her everything, she asked further, whether he undressed or kept his clothes on when he became a werewolf. "Wife," he replied, "I go stark naked." "Tell me then, for God's sake, where are your clothes?" "That I won't tell you. If I were to lose them and then be discovered, I'd stay a werewolf forever. I'd be helpless until I got them back. That's why I don't want their hiding place to be known." "My lord," the lady answered, "I love you more than all the world. You mustn't hide anything from me or fear me in any way. That doesn't seem like love to me. What wrong have I done? For what sin of mine do you mistrust me about anything? Do the right thing and tell me." She harassed and bedeviled him so that he had no choice but to tell her. "Lady," he said, "near the woods, beside the road that I used to get there, there's an old chapel that has often done me good service. Under a bush there is a big stone, hollowed out inside. I hide my clothes right there until I'm ready to come home." The lady heard this wonder and turned scarlet from fear. She was terrified of the whole adventure. Over and over she considered how she might get rid of him. She never wanted to sleep with him again. There was a knight of that region who had loved her for a long time, who begged for her love, and dedicated himself to serving her. She never loved him at all, nor pledged her love to him, but now she sent a messenger for him, and told him her intention. "My dear," she said, "cheer up. I shall now grant you without delay what you have suffered for. You'll meet with no more refusals. I offer you my love and my body. Make me your mistress." He thanked her graciously and accepted her promise, and she bound him to her by an oath. Then she told him how her husband went away and what happened to him. She also taught him the precise path her husband took into the forest, and then she sent the knight to get her husband's clothes. So Bisclavret was betrayed, ruined by his own wife. Since people knew he was often away from home, they all thought this time he'd gone away forever. For him and made inquiries, but could never find him, so they had to let matters stand. His wife later married the other knight who had loved her for so long. A whole year passed until one day the king went hunting. He headed right for the forest where Bisclavret was. When the hounds were unleashed, they ran across Bisclavret. The hunters and the dogs chased him all day, until they were just about to take him and tear him apart, at which point he saw the king and ran to him, pleading for mercy. He took hold of the king's stirrups, kissed his leg and his foot. The king saw this and was terrified. He called his companions. "My lords," he said, Come quickly, look at this marvel. This beast is humbling itself to me. It has the mind of a man, and it's begging me for mercy. Chase the dogs away, and make sure no one strikes it. This beast is rational. He has a mind. Hurry up, let's get out of here. I'll extend my peace to the creature, indeed. I'll hunt no more today. Thereupon the king turned away. Bisclavret followed him. He stayed close to the king and wouldn't go away. He'd no intention of leaving him. The king led him to his castle. In his castle, he was delighted with this turn of events, for he'd never seen anything like it. He considered the beast a great wonder and held him very dear. He commanded all his followers, for the sake of their love for him, to guard Bisclavret well, and under no circumstance to do him harm. None of them should strike him. Rather, he should be well fed and watered. They willingly guarded the creature. Every day he went to sleep among the knights near the king. Everyone was fond of him. He was so noble and well behaved that he never wished to do anything wrong. Regardless of where the king might go, Bisclavret never wanted to be separated from him. He always accompanied the king. The king became very much aware that the creature loved him. Listen to what happened next. The king held a court to help him celebrate his feast and to serve him as handsomely as possible. He summoned all the barons who held fiefs from him. Among the knights who went, and all dressed up in his best attire, was the one who married Bisclavret's wife. He neither knew nor suspected that he would find Bisclavret so close by. As soon as he came to the palace, Bisclavret saw him, ran toward him at full speed, sank his teeth into him, and started to drag him down. He would have done him great damage if the king hadn't pulled him off and threatened him with a stick. Twice that day he tried to bite the knight. Everyone was extremely surprised, since the beast had never acted that way toward any other man he had seen. All over the palace, people said that he wouldn't act that way without a reason, so that somehow or other the king had mistreated Bisclavret, and now he wanted his revenge. And so the matter rested until the feast was over, and until the barons took their leave of the king and started home. The very first to leave, to the best of my knowledge, was the knight whom Bisclavret had attacked, and no wonder the creature had hated him. Long afterward, as the story leads me to believe, the king, who was so wise and noble, went back to the forest, where he had found Bisclavret, and the creature went with him. That night, when he finished hunting, he sought lodging out in the countryside. The wife of Bisclavret heard about it, and dressed herself elegantly, and went the next day to speak with the king, bringing rich presents for him. Bisclavret saw her coming. No one could hold him back. He ran toward her in a rage. Now listen to how well he avenged himself. He tore the nose off her face. What worse thing could he have done to her? Now men closed in on him from all sides. They were about to tear him apart when a wise man said to the king, "My lord, listen to me. This beast has stayed with you, and there's not one of us who hasn't watched him closely, hasn't traveled with him often. He's never touched anyone or shown any wickedness except to this woman. By the faith that I owe you, he has some grudge against her, and against her husband as well. This is the wife of the knight whom you used to like so much, and who's been missing for so long. We don't know what became of him. Why not put this woman to torture and see if she'll tell you why the beast hates her? Make her tell what she knows. We've seen many strange things here in Brittany." The king took his advice. He detained the knight, and at the same time he took the wife and subjected her to torture. Out of fear and pain, she told all about her husband and how she had betrayed him and taken away his clothes. The story he had told her about what happened to him and where he went, and how after she had taken his clothes he'd never been seen in his land again. She was quite certain that this beast was Bisclavret. The king demanded the clothes. Whether she wanted to or not, she sent home for them and had them brought to Bisclavret. When they were put down in front of him, he didn't even seem to notice them. The king's wise men, the one who had advised him earlier, said to him, "My lord, you're not doing it right. This beast wouldn't, under any circumstances, in order to get rid of his animal form, put on his clothes in front of you. You don't understand what this means. He's just too ashamed to do it here. Have him led to your chambers and bring the clothes with him. Then we'll leave him alone for a while. If he turns into a man, we'll know about it." He himself led the way and closed all the doors on him. After a while he went back, taking 2 barons with him. All 3 entered the king's chamber. In his royal bed they found the knight asleep. The king ran to embrace him. He hugged and kissed him again and again. As soon as he had the chance, the king gave him back all his lands. He gave him more than I can tell. He banished his wife, chased her out of the country. She went into exile with the knight with whom she had betrayed her lord. She had several children, who were widely known for their appearance. Several women of the family were actually born without noses and lived out their lives noseless. The adventure that you have heard really happened, no doubt about it. The lay of Bisclavret was made so it would be remembered forever.